How are you doing today? Welcome to the live class. Today we are going to talk about conversational phrases because I got a question. I think a couple of lives ago, I got this question about conversational phrases. So I wanted to go over this topic. Hello, how are you guys doing today? Happy Saturday. Hey, I'm doing well. I'm having a good weekend so far. I think that later tonight I'm going to go out to dinner with my husband. There's a restaurant that's really good that we used to go to when we lived in a different part of the city. Like it has good prices, good food, but now we live farther away, so we might go there tonight. Does anyone have a plan for the weekend? Do you guys have plans for this weekend? I hope also maybe I got these hand weights to be able to use in my house, and I've been doing some like YouTube video at home workouts with them. So I might do it. I did it a couple times last week. Maybe I'll do an at home workout. There are some good ones on YouTube. That's the nice thing about the internet now is that we have free English classes, we have free, fitness classes. Thank you. I am doing very well, so thank you. I had the idea today to go over some common conversational phrases. Of course, I'm also happy to answer other unrelated questions that you guys have along the way if I'm able to. Sometimes people ask me very specific things, and in that case, maybe it depends on what your question is, but I'll try my best. Please clarify the difference between a possessive adjective and a possessive pronoun. Yeah, that's a good question. So if you think about what is a noun is a person, place, or thing. It could be the subject of the sentence, like the policeman ate a donut, or it could be the object of a sentence, like the donut. And so a pronoun is a word that replaces a noun. So a pronoun also refers to a person, place, or thing. So he eats it. So he is going to be a pronoun. Not a possessive pronoun. He eats it. A possessive pronoun would be like if you replace the whole phrase that includes a possession. So instead of saying he eats my donut, I'm saying he eats mine. I have his and he eats mine. So with a possessive pronoun, you're able to replace the possessive word plus the noun together. Just the possessive adjective would be my, the word that goes before the object. So it's only describing the object. So for example, if I say my donut, then the possessive adjective is my. If I'm saying mine, that donut is mine, mine is the possessive pronoun, because it's replacing not only the my, but also the object itself. The same thing, what if I wanted to say, for example, that is your phone? I could say that phone is, So that is your phone is the same as that phone is. What would be the possessive pronoun that I can use here? And possessive, yes, exactly. That phone is yours. And possessive adjectives go before a noun. So it's always my phone, his phone, your phone. But possessive pronouns are going to generally go after the verb to be. That's like one of the most common ways to use it. So that is mine. That phone is mine. It's really common when you're responding to someone. So if I say, whose shoes are these? And you respond, those are my shoes. That's okay. But a lot of people will say, those are mine, because it's not necessary to repeat the object in a conversation. So if you want to practice the difference between adjectives and pronouns, one thing you can do is write different questions. Whose keys are these? And then the person can answer either those are my keys or those keys are mine. So that could be a way to practice the two different ways to respond. Is the fear of speaking linguistical or psychological? I would say the fear itself is psychological, but there are linguistic reasons as to why you might have more fear. So for instance, if you don't practice your English enough and you're really lacking a lot of vocabulary, you could feel that you don't have enough words, and someone who maybe be able to have more tools in the moment of speaking, and that could cause them to have less fear. However, there are people that have a lot of vocabulary, but they still have fear in a conversation. So I would say that it's not necessarily like a solution to the fear to strengthen your linguistic abilities. I think it helps. I think it's part of it, but I do think it has a psychological component that goes beyond it, the fear aspect. Because, I've had people that have on paper less linguistic ability that have less fear than someone that, like, they're not always 100% correlated. Okay, so I have some different phrases for us today. One that I have here is, can anyone tell me, this is an idiom, but it's a very common one. Does anyone have an idea what this means and when we can use on the fence? Say in Spanish, however. However in Spanish would be like sin embargo. It's a connector of contrast. And so in the same way you could say, yo quería hacer esto. Sin embargo, no podía. Or pero no podía. So sin embargo, pero will be the same type of connector as however or but. I'm on the fence. Yes. This one means that I wouldn't say it's por lo tanto. It's more like a connector of contrast. I'm on the fence. What does this mean? Okay, it's kind of like a way that you struggle with something when I have doubts about something. Yeah, so on the fence specifically means that I am undecided, right? So I have not decided yet. For example, I could say, I want to change my job, but I'm still on the fence. And I would say I'm on the fence about which option I should go for. I'm on the fence about which option I should go for. On the fence. So can anyone think of an example of something that you are still undecided about? Exactly. Not having made up my mind about something means that you are on the fence. So what is something that you are on the fence about? Personally, I am indecisive person in general. I think I'm trying to get better at this, but I tend to be on the fence about a lot of things. I want to make this change in my life, but I'm still on the fence. I am on the fence about which diet I should start next Monday. Perfect. Yeah, maybe some of you are still deciding some different New Year's resolutions, and you're still on the fence about what you want to do for the new year. So I'm on the fence about which diet I should start next Monday. I'm on the fence about what life change I want to implement this year, for instance. I'm on the fence. So you can say I'm on the fence about, and then the thing that you're on the fence about. But also, if I ask you a question, you can say, I don't know, I'm on the fence. So you could use it just by itself in response to a question, or you can connect it to a whole idea. I'm on the fence about this. I'm on the fence about traveling abroad. Okay. I'm on the fence about going on holidays to the beach or the mountains. That's a difficult choice. I was on the fence about looking for a new internship, but now I've decided to look for another and hopefully less harming place. Okay. Nice. I think that is always a positive change, is to look for a less harming place, or I would say even more common, a less harmful place. It is harming you, so that works too. But we can also say a less harmful place. I'm on the fence about going on a diet. Okay, we're all on the fence about going on a diet this 2026. I'm on the fence about going After about, I would put the gerund, the ing verb, usually whenever we have a prepositional phrase like that. So I'm on the fence about going for a walk to the beach today. Yeah, and with on the fence, it could be deciding between two things, or it could be deciding whether you want to do something or not. This is a little bit different between, so we have another phrase which is similar, that's also very common, and that is to say, I'm torn about something. So that could also work if you have two options and you're kind of in the middle between them. You can say, I'm on the fence about going to the mountains or the beach, or I'm torn about going to the mountains or the beach. She was on the fence about getting married. I am on the fence about working today. Okay, so this is on the fence. All of us know on the fence. And thank you. I appreciate your comment about my accent. I'm glad that it's easy to understand. Is it always with about? Yes, when you're adding it to an idea after. If I ask you a question and I'm like, how do you feel about this or this? You can respond, I'm on the fence, period. But when you want to add another idea after, it's the most common to say, I'm on the fence about da da da. So when you're connecting it to something. Another phrase that's really common is it slipped my mind. Is on the fence the same as to sit in limbo? I would say it's a little bit different because to sit in limbo could also be that you are waiting for something. Like maybe you do know what you want, but for example, I'm on the fence about whether I want to move to another country is like I have not decided yet if I want to move to another country or not. But I'm in limbo is maybe for a reason outside of my control, I have to wait in this limbo and I'm not able to take a specific action. So it's possible that you are in limbo because you are on the fence, but it's also possible that for some other reason, like the government is taking a long time to give you a visa, that you are in limbo, or the job has not responded to you with a good answer. You are in limbo. Here is another phrase that is very common, which is, it slipped my mind. If anyone knows what it means, to slip is if you are walking across a wet floor or ice and whoop, you can slip on the floor. So slip. We use the word slip in a lot of different ways. For example, if I'm in a crowded room, if I'm in a crowded room, I could slip, or maybe if I go through a door that is really tightly closed, I could slip out of the room, for example, or I could slip a piece of paper to you. It's like to do something in a small space or like whoop, to slip something. And so if something slips your mind, this is a more metaphorical use of the word slip. It means that it left your mind or you forgot it. So it's a nice way, I think sometimes when you're in a situation where you forget something, sometimes it can be very direct if a person says, why didn't you come to my party? If you say, oh, I forgot, versus, oh, it slipped my mind. It sounds a little bit more indirect, which obviously if you're a direct speaker and you're like, well, I want to just tell the full truth, that's totally fine. But I do think a lot of people in the US and British English have the culture to be indirect. So you can hear people say things like, oh, it slipped my mind. Can any of you think of an example of something that slipped your mind? What is something that slipped your mind? Something that it could be, for instance, a place that you were going to go, but you forgot that you had a plan to go there. It slipped my mind. I would say it slipped my mind. You could talk about another person. My brother was going to go to the dentist, but it slipped his mind. I was going to respond to your email, but it slipped my mind. In Germany, this is maybe not a good phrase. People will not say this. Yeah, that's a good point that it depends on your culture. But while we're learning English, it's a good strategy to experiment with how you want your personality. So we can say, you know what? Actually, I'm not a very indirect person. This doesn't fit me. It slipped my mind to buy bread. Exactly. It slipped my mind to buy bread. Yeah. We can use it at the beginning of the phrase, or I was going to buy bread, but it slipped my mind. You could also use it at the end of the sentence as well. As long as you keep it together, it slipped my mind is like a pack, one idea. These are ones that are going to be very common to hear people say in real life, and also in movies, you'll probably see people using them. I was going to call my son, but it slipped my mind. Yes, that's a really good example. I had the exam and the professor didn't publish the results. Yeah. It slipped your mind, or maybe it slipped your professor's mind. If your professor forgot, then he didn't publish the results. It slipped his mind, we could say, if he was the one that forgot. Here we're using possessive adjectives for the person that asked me about that earlier. Okay, I have another one, which is slipped my mind to prepare the bag. Yeah, that's going to be a common one for traveling also. I didn't pack my sunscreen. It slipped my mind. Okay, another one is I'm in the same boat. I'm in the same boat. What does it mean if we are in the same boat? It slipped my mind, much like the syllabus after the lecture. Ma'am slipped her mind to answer my question. I could use this about me a lot on the live class because people ask a lot of questions and then sometimes I lose the So I think it was last week someone asked me the same question several times and I finally responded at the end. So yes, to be in the same boat is to be in the same situation. So it doesn't mean that we agree. It's not like I love sports. I'm in the same boat. No, not really. It's not like we agree about something. It's more like we are in the same situation. So, this is a good question. Why do people use this phrase when it's usually easier and shorter to say I forgot? I think that happens a lot with idioms. We can think about idioms in all of your native languages. Imagine if someone spoke in a very literal way, only using the specific verbs and never using any longer phrases. I think it would sound maybe less friendly and, yeah, more literal. So I think that one thing that's subtle is that it takes a little bit of responsibility away from you. If you think about it, I forgot. It's like I did that action. I'm the one that forgot. But it a little bit removes the responsibility to say it slipped my mind. Similar to how in Spanish you could say se me olvidó. It's like that was done, like the forgetting happened, and it's a little bit passive, but it's maybe kind of a less direct way to say it. So I think for that reason that, yeah, it adds a friendliness to it, but also maybe it does make it feel less direct, like you're confessing something to say, it slipped my mind. I'm in the same boat. In my language, we use it flew out of my head. True. Yeah, exactly. I think if you meet someone in your native language that only is very literal, they might sound a little bit more robotic. And so I think that's why this happens. But not to say that you guys need to use every single idiom ever. I think it can also sound kind of weird if someone's like speaking only, I don't know, some native speakers also use a lot of idioms. Personally, I'm not the type to use an idiom in every single sentence, and if that's not natural for you, don't feel like you have to do that. Maybe unless you're taking like an exam where it's expected of you. Yes, exactly, Hushporn. We feel the same about weird comments. I'm in the same boat. Yes, we are all in the same. I think For example, if we are all in this class and then someone enters and acts crazy and we're all like, what? I'm only here to learn English. We can say, we are all in the same boat. I'm in the same situation as you. Exactly. So when could you use this? Does anyone have a situation where you are in the same boat as someone else? Again, if you're only talking about I share the opinion, there are other better phrases for that. This one really is like, imagine you apply for a visa to travel and you talk to a friend and your friend is also in limbo waiting. You could say, oh, I'm in the same boat. So if you talk to someone and see that they're in the same situation or circumstances as you, that's when we'll use I'm in the same boat, on the same boat. I think on that would be applied literally. So if you are going on a cruise and there are two boats doing the same cruise, boat A and boat B, I could say, oh, we are on the same boat for our cruise in a very literal way. But the idiomatic expression is going to be we are in the same boat. That's an interesting one. I hadn't realized that. So the literal talking about being on a boat is going to use on, but then the figurative meaning is going to use the preposition in. So yeah, that's the importance of prepositions in English. The little words are very important. Okay, I have another one. The other one is, that's a game changer. Does anyone know what it means if I say, that's a game changer? Hello, if you're joining, we're practicing conversational expressions. So the next one I have is, that's a game changer. Hello, hello. Good morning. What would be an example of something that's a game changer? Does anything come to mind? I could say, for example, okay, here's a good example. True. Yeah. So the situation with the Venezuelan government was a game changer, for sure. That was like changing a lot about the game. Something is better for crucial changes. Yeah, it's like a big change. I would say it is for a big change, but it also pretty much always means a better change. I don't really hear it used for people talking about something changing for the worse. So usually it's a big change and something changes for the better. So for example, I had a class with some students and we are reading a book and I sent them first just the book, right? And so they were reading the book, but then I sent them an audiobook that they can listen to at the same time. And they told me that the audiobook was a game changer because using the audiobook and the written book at the same time helped them understand more words. The Industrial Revolution was a game changer. Exactly. That's a good example. So something historically that really changed the world in a lot of ways for the better. To win $20 million, that would be a game changer. Did that happen to you? Or this is a hypothetical? Devaluation was a game changer in my plans. It's always connected with a benefit, and I don't even know a German equivalent. Okay. When we finish our graduation, yeah, you could say maybe, but for instance, I would say that talking about something in your life that changed for the better. So you could say, I always had a difficult relationship with my parents, but when I graduated, it was a game changer because I was able to show them my, I don't know, responsibility and have more independence from them, for example. So I would think of what was changed with like the graduation itself is a game changer, but it has to be changing something. Like it was a game changer in terms of the amount of money I was able to earn, or it was a game changer for my mental health. Like I became a much happier person. My people in Iran on revolution, and I hope that's a game changer. Yeah, I've been seeing the news in Iran has been very intense. I hope for anyone here that is in Iran or has family in Iran that you're doing okay. AI is a game changer for sure. When a relationship ends, true. You could say breaking up with him was a game changer. Now I'm a better person. Nice. So that would be a game changer. Okay. So all of these are ones that you can definitely hear people use at work or in regular conversation. I tried to choose ones that were more usable in a variety of situations because, yeah, with idioms, there are some that are very regionally specific, some that are very old, some that are so specific it's difficult to know when to use them. So I think these are good ones for everyone to know. What does it mean to hit a wall? I also like this example. Once I became a mom, it was a game changer. Yeah, I've heard some people say that they didn't have so much structure and routine before becoming a parent, and that becoming a mom was a game changer for them for structuring their life. Greetings from Kurdistan. Hello. What does it mean to hit a wall if I say I hit a wall? It is. You guys are on the right track. It's not exactly those. It's more what Almir and Hadis said. So, being unable to make progress or we are in a dead end. It is something frustrating. I would say that, for example, a lot of English learners, yes, exactly. I hit a wall means you can't continue or make progress anymore. So a lot of English learners hit a wall when they get to the intermediate level, right? So if you're a person who studies English a lot and in the beginning you felt that you had a lot of progress, but at a certain point you hit a wall, it's like, I'm not making progress anymore. I feel stuck. That would be I hit a wall is I feel stuck. It's also very common for people that work in computer programming or some sort of problem solving profession where you cannot continue to progress or move forward. You could say, ooh, I was working on the code or the project, but I hit a wall because I was not able to continue making progress. There was some obstacle. To reach a certain point that holds you back from going ahead, exactly, that is to hit a wall. Industrial companies are changing biological life with robot women and men. Is that true? I hope that we hit a wall with that because that seems a little bit insane. So that is I hit a wall. Do you know any words in Arabic language? Yeah, أهلا أنا اسمي ماجي أنا بخير كتاب is book bab is door and I know that because I took like one very beginning Arabic course where we learned how to write, and this is what's kind of funny is that every language, because of the way that the language is, every language has different words that are the best for beginners. And so in Arabic, they teach you the word for door as one of the first words because when you're learning the alphabet, you learn like the B equivalent letter and the E equivalent letter. So bab. And those are some of the first letters that they teach you. So also for that reason, I know book because it uses the same letters. Is it used with people in relationships? Yes, you could say our relationship hit a wall. In that case, yeah, it wouldn't make sense to say I hit a wall. It would sound better to say like our relationship hit a wall or we hit a wall. Or I tried to help her, but I hit a wall. That could also work. Yeah. I think it's the most common with solving problems, but it's not incorrect to use it with interpersonal relationships either. It's more, but I would say just the context of problem solving is going to be like the most common situation when you can use it. Yeah. Because also in those, I think it's because we have so many other phrases that are really common for relationships. So, like, I wanted to comfort her, but I couldn't get through to her. If, for example, if it's about communication specifically, This is a really good one if you're ever in the situation where you're explaining to someone, you're really trying to get them to see your point of view, but they're not taking in your point of view, and it feels like talking to a wall. You could say, I couldn't get through to her. So I just feel that with relationships, there are going to be other common ones that you can use. Why? If you're asking why I learned a little bit of Arabic, I don't know. I always was interested in different languages, and I was interested in the fact that Arabic is spoken in so many different countries. Of course, then I learned that the type of Arabic spoken country to country is so different that you would have to probably learn a lot if you wanted to go visit a specific Arabic speaking country, but yeah, that was my interest. Okay, here first, low key. Low key is slang, yes. It's kind of like adding a side note. So I could say, for example, let's go to the mall. Low key, I also want to get a burger. It's kind of like something that maybe I'm not proud of it, so I want to say it quietly, or I want to give you my secondary intention, or something that's kind of like a side note. I would use low key for adding additional information, especially when it's information that you're not proud of or you are saying is not the number one part of your sentence. But the interesting thing with low key, which kind of happened with the word literally, is that people started using it in a way that was like to refer to more and more situations, which made the use of it not precise. So literally, of course, meant something happening in reality, but now you hear people say, it's literally a million degrees outside. And so people started saying literally in a situation that's not literal. And I find that this kind of happens with low key as well, that now it's so common that people will use it in a situation where what they're saying is not low key. What they're saying is actually the main point. And here, let me see if I can find a proper definition. So low key means to do or feel something subtly, quietly, or secretly, often indicating a hidden preference, mild feeling, or understated desire. Like, I low key want pizza, or a low key party that's chill and not hyped up. It can also describe something as modest or understated. So I'm low key hoping we cancel plans. It's something where you would not, if I'm talking to you about a plan that we have, maybe we're coworkers and we have a company party this weekend. You could tell me, low key, I hope that they cancel the party. You're telling me like, maybe I don't want everyone to know this. This is kind of like a secret or subtle feeling that I have, but I want them to cancel the party as a side note. So I would say those are the two uses of low key. One is to talk about something that's really chill. The party is low key. And the other one is to say secretly or kind of like a hidden preference. Okay, we also have keep me in the loop. Yeah, the loop. If you guys don't know what a loop is, I think, let me see if I have my bookshelf. Okay, so if I take a string and I do this, whoop, this is a loop. It's like when you have a circle of string like this is a loop. So keep me in the loop, keep me updated. And yeah, I like this word loop is really good. Loop by itself, so these are different meanings. If you say I'm watching a video on a loop, it's like I'm watching it repeatedly over and over and over. But if I say you keep me in the loop, it's keep me updated, keep me in the know, continue to tell me what's happening. So that's a good one to use at work or if you're talking to someone that you're making a plan with as well. Keep me in the loop. We also have not my cup of tea. That's a good one. It basically means that something is not your preference. Yeah, and that one you could say I mean, the Brits love tea, and that's a really good one for British English, but it's also used in the US as well. You can hear people saying that, and we all know what that means too. I'm all ears. That's a really funny one. It's like I'm listening well, I'm listening closely. If I say, I have something to tell you, okay, I'm all ears. And then I say, low key, I love your shirt, but I didn't want to tell you earlier. Out of the blue, we're on the same page, not my cup of tea. Those are all really good ones. Set me back. That's a good one. Yeah. This set me back. Also, hello, if you're joining, we're talking about common phrases that you can use in English. To use the word crass. Okay, the word crass is used in English, but it's not used so frequently. It's not like the word that people use all the time every day. I think the word crazy is going to be very common. People say, oh, that's crazy. But yeah, like this is a word that exists that people know, but it's not going to be like nearly as common as crazy. I also think, let me see. Yeah, it's used in a different way in English also. It's more negative. It's more like a lack of intelligence and sensitivity. So they were suspended following their crass comments. So it's not like the exact same as crazy in English. It has a different meaning. It's like something that was maybe too blunt or insensitive. Yeah, with cold feet, we would say to have cold feet instead of to be cold feet. You would say you have cold feet. That's used a lot when someone is going to do something big, like get married. That phrase is used a lot if someone ends up not wanting to go through with their marriage. You could say, oh, she got cold feet the night of the wedding and decided to cancel the wedding. Top notch. Your English content is top notch. Thank you. That's a really good one. The notch, if any of you know, when you are turning up the volume of something, you turn it up a notch. Each little degree that you turn the knob is a notch. So I can say, hey, can you turn the music up a notch? Only one movement is one notch. And so if someone's top notch, it's like the highest degree. Piece of cake? Yes, but remember, a piece instead of a bis. Are you pulling my leg? Yeah. I think, are you pulling my leg is okay. It's probably more common to say, are you messing with me? But yeah, that's another one where everyone will know what it means too. Witty and top notch. Thank you. Also, very good word there, witty. Okay, you guys were asking me, what is lusty? Okay, I'm curious where you saw that because lust is one of the 7 deadly sins. I don't know if there's a double meaning, but I'm only thinking of, okay, yeah, there is a different meaning from what I was thinking. Healthy and strong is lusty. The other farmsteads had lusty young sons to work the land. This comes from the English word for vigor, F-A-F-O. That's a good one. That is the first word. So if you are a sensitive person, I apologize. But F around and find out. That is really common now on the internet to say that someone got some sort of backlash or response to what they did. So to F around, F meaning the word that rhymes with duck but begins with an F, to F around is to, mess with someone, pull their leg, do something annoying. That is to mess around. And then find out is you're going to see what happens. And so, for example, it's happened before. I've seen this used a lot when someone does cyberbullying on TikTok. And then the person who they cyberbullied finds their real identity and exposes them. A lot of people say that person, the one who wrote the mean comments initially, messed around, but then he found out. Like, he got the consequences for his actions in the end. So that's a good one. But people write F-A-F-O for short. That's not my business. That's a really good phrase, and I think more people should use that should use that phrase. That's not my business. This is in Christianity. There are 7 deadly sins. and they are pride. So if someone is, I'll just read them. Pride, vanity, is an excessive belief in one's own abilities or qualities, often considered the primary or original deadly sin. Greed, avarice, an excessive pursuit of material possessions or wealth. Lust, an inordinate or illicit sexual desire. Envy, selfish sadness or resentment at the prosperity, success, or possessions of others. Gluttony, the overconsumption of food or drink. Wrath is anger, the intense and uncontrolled anger or hatred towards another person. Sloth, which is acedia, excessive laziness, apathy, or a failure to act and utilize one's talents. So those are the 7 deadly sins, which even, I mean, of course, this is in Christianity, but I think that these are good vocabulary words because we talk about these topics in life in general, even if you have a different religious belief. Like envy or greed. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Yes, exactly. Excessive laziness. Yeah, I think my deadly sin is sloth. And actually, sloth is the name of the animal. If any of you have ever seen the animal that's like has 3 toes, that is a sloth. So the name of this lazy animal is the same as the name of the deadly sin. All right. Maybe I can do a final question. Does anyone have any other questions for today? We had more of like a conversational day, but last time I went live, someone said that they needed more conversation phrases, so I thought I would give some. And you guys seem to have quite a few. So if any of you, I always think it's the best thing to take a look at what other people write as well, because people are really good at including new vocabulary in the chat. Faultier in German. Okay, that's sloth. Faultier. Oh, or tier, like that's the animal. Faultier. Beat around the bush. Yeah, exactly. Opposite of beat around the bush is to cut to the chase. That comes from when you're watching a movie and there is a chase scene. So you're watching a movie, it's slow, going on, and bam, we cut to the action. Sometimes when someone's telling you a really long story and they're going on and on, you could say, please cut to the chase. I only want the action. Give me the point. Yeah, get to the point or cut to the chase. Those are both good phrases to use in that sort of situation. Bite the bullet. That's another one. Yeah, exactly. Bite the bullet. Loss for words. Yeah, you guys have a lot of good expressions. Nice. I'm going to continue on my day, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I am going to post this on YouTube and Spotify after I edit the audio. So watch out for that. Sorry. And when I do that, I'll be able to add subtitles also. So if there was anything from today that you didn't catch or you didn't understand, you'll be able to watch with the text on the screen. So have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you for your participation in the class. Thank you for all of your lovely comments, examples. And yeah, I hope that you have a good weekend and that you keep practicing your English. We will have another class next week, and maybe I'll post on my story seeing what topic we want to do, because I'm sure a lot of people have specific things that they need to practice. So take care, everyone. Have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.